Hey guys, it's Mia here, and today I did have a different video planned, but I just got to Wolfblood Season 4, and I'm almost done with it, and I just wanted to talk about that because the big drastic changes that were happening in Season 4 are driving me a little crazy. So we're going to talk about the show Wolfblood today. So, Wolfblood stars Maddie Smith and Rydian Morris, and they are our main two for Season 1, along with Maddie's best friends, Shannon Kelly and Tom Okinawa. Now, throughout the show, we get to see their relationship, and they've been friends for years, since they were really little. So Maddie has to go through this struggle of being what is known as a wolfblood. And wolfbloods are not werewolves. Wolfbloods are born where werewolves are bitten. So they're not cursed. They're not forced to be this monster. And they're more wolf than a normal werewolf. And it's kind of not offensive to them to call them a werewolf, but it's just not the correct term. So she has to struggle with the fact that she cannot tell her friends this secret. And when we first meet her in the show, she has not transformed yet, because once you get to a certain age is when you transform. So she really doesn't have much to hide from them when she's younger, because she doesn't have to worry about having to control her wolf self. But then Rydian comes into the picture, and he's new to her territory. So she's like, "Wait, who are you? What are you doing here? Why are you on my territory? You shouldn't be here." And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And so she has to deal with this new wolfblood on her territory that has no idea what he is, because as we find out, he wasn't raised by a wolfblood family. He was in foster care. So she kind of has to help him learn the ropes and show him how that stuff works. So throughout the whole show, we get to see how Rydian, Maddie, Shannon, and Tom deal with this whole wolfblood scenario and trying to fit in as normal humans. Well, Shannon and Tom are normal humans, but they end up finding out Maddie's secret because she can't hide it from her friends that she's known most of her life. So she ends up just telling them. So they have the responsibility of keeping Maddie's secret a secret. One of my favorite things about the show is just how open the world feels, because you're in the wilderness and the country of Scotland, and it is just so beautiful. And there's just something I really love about that type of music that also goes with it. It fits the show so well, and I love that style of music. There's just something about it that speaks to my heart. So they basically have to juggle being a wolfblood with their normal life. And as you can imagine, being stuck in a school most of the day, surrounded by people, is kind of hard to keep that a secret. And they have to find out ways to deal with it. So Maddie starts getting used to Rydian, and he kind of becomes their main clique and her love interest. But trouble starts happening, and Maddie first changes with Rydian, and when they change, they don't look like half human, hairy, and all raw. They look like actual wolves. This is Maddie and Rydian in their wolf forms. They look like normal wolves. Granted, not the best wolf effects, but it doesn't hurt the quality of the show any, and they do get better in later seasons. And then out of nowhere, a character named Yana shows up in season 2. And this is Yana. Yana was wild, so she never had to conceal herself from humans because she spent so long as a wolf. So there's a lot of issues that come with that. Like Yana's constantly like freaking out at people, and they have to come up with excuses why she's always growling at people and all that stuff. But eventually, with all of their help, Shannon, Tom, Ridian, and Maddie, she gets used to our world and becomes a part of Maddie's pack. But something happens, and Maddie has to leave in order to protect herself and her family. And I'm thinking, oh, season 3 she'll be back, she'll come back into the show once everything is resolved, because they're probably going to resolve it and find a way out of this sticky situation that they're in. But she doesn't come back. And I'm like, well, maybe they're just taking her time bringing her back, because she was the main character of the show. She was the first one of the show we were introduced to, so they're going to bring her back, obviously. But no, they didn't. After so many episodes of her not being back, I went and looked on Google to see if she was coming back at all, because I was tired of waiting to figure it out. And she apparently had left the show, and they didn't really say why her actress left the show, so I don't know. So I was like, well, that's okay, I can deal with this. Most of the characters are still the same. You still have Ridian, Shannon, and Tom, and kind of Yana, because she's a part of the show now. And Ridian kind of takes over as alpha of the pack, where Maddie was the alpha before. But because Maddie left in Canada for good, Ridian kind of takes over as the alpha of the pack. And yes, Shannon and Tom are included in the pack, even though they're not actually Wolfbloods, they're just humans. Shannon looks like this, and Tom looks like this. And Yana looks like this. So you know who I'm talking about when I'm talking about them. Season 3 ends with this huge cliffhanger, Ridian having to leave. I'm not going to say why he ended up leaving. After season 3, the show is completely different. The intro is different. We are no longer in the country of Scotland or in the wilderness. We're in the city, which makes the show feel really cramped and really closed in. And all of our characters are no longer in school. And on top of all that, the only main character, I should say, all the side characters are the same. The only character that's the same is Yana. And I don't know why this is how it is, because I looked up on Google to see why all the characters changed, and when I looked it up, they said that they were really excited for season 4. So I don't know if there was a new director or if they decided to make the show so much different from what it used to be, and that's why all the characters were like, you know what, I don't want to do this show anymore, and they didn't come back for season 4. And instead of canceling the whole show, because almost none of the characters were the same out of the main characters, they kept going. So the only one of the main characters that's the same is Yana. And so now we have this cast of characters. And to be honest with you, I still have yet to learn their names, because I'm horrible with names, and because we spent 3 seasons with these other characters and now they're all just gone. So in a way, it feels like a completely different show because it's set in a different setting, being in the city instead of in the open country, and All the characters are different, and that is what made me want to talk about the show. I get that it's a popular show, but if all of your main cast, except for one, cancels on being in the show, you should just cut your losses and stop making the show. Because a lot of times when shows or movies completely switch characters in their later things, it kills the show for most people because we're no longer seeing the journey of the characters we grow to care about. We are seeing complete strangers, and it's like the show is starting completely over. To me, it's like not as good because we don't have most of our main cast, and I don't even know all of their names so far. About the only one I care anything to learn about is Yana, because she was in there since season 2. But I am actually starting to like one of the Ks because she became friends with Yana after most of her friends moved away. Also, on top of that, it being set in the city just makes it seem very closed in and very claustrophobic as to where you were before in this huge, open, vast country of Scotland. You're jammed into a city now, and I just don't like it. It's hard for them to deal with because when Wolfbloods get angry, their veins start to turn black and their eyes turn yellow. So when they're angry, they look like this. And a lot of times that is very hard for them to control because by the time they reel in the sensation of tingling, as Maddie calls it, their veins and their eyes have already changed. So they have to deal with that. And like I said, there's camera phones now, there's security cameras, there's all these buildings so close together, so it is so much harder for them to keep the secret. Even when they wolf out now in the seasons, even though the effects look slightly better than they did in the earlier seasons, it doesn't feel as of wonder as it did before. Because the whole time you're like, why are you wolfing out here? You're gonna get caught so bad because there's so much stuff surrounding you. It's not like you could just dash into the woods and wolf out and run and all this stuff. They are so closed in that I am terrified that someone is gonna find out about what they are every single time they wolf out. And I hate that they said it in the city. I hate the new intro song, even though I like the song, but it just doesn't fit. I think they should have at least kept the new or the old intro song, but redid the intro animation to fit the new characters. I don't like the title update. I don't like the complete switch in characters. I don't like the city setting because it feels so claustrophobic. So, I mean, I'm still enjoying the show, but I kind of had to make myself think it was a completely different show with a different cast of characters. I'm kind of treating it like it's kind of a spin-off of the original Wolfblood, because if I don't treat it like a spin-off, then I'm not going to be able to finish the show. And I don't know why they just didn't stop making the show. I mean, I know why. They wanted money, but nobody's going to care about the show at this point because we lost the main people we watched grow up in the show. So you're taking away the big point of interest for your whole audience, and at that point you should just cut the show. I would have been perfectly happy with Wolfblood only being 3 seasons long because at least we'd still have the main cast in the show. So I don't know, if you're like me and you don't like when movies and shows just randomly switch characters, then I would stop at season 3 of Wolfblood. And if you want to treat it like a spin-off like I'm trying to do, you can go ahead and watch season 4 and 5. Or if you don't care about the fact that the characters are completely different in the newer seasons, then go ahead and watch it outright. I don't know. But that's my thoughts on the show Wolfblood, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye, guys.